Welcome to the virtual lunch today, Wednesday, May 20th.
My name is Barron Henley. I am a lawyer geek and one of the founding partners of Affinity Consulting. We do pretty much everything except e-discovery and hardware. I run our document automation department, so I spend a stupid amount of time automating complex documents in Contract Express and Hot Docs and Express Docs, and do a lot of training and have been teaching webinars and CLE classes like it's my job, even though it isn't. Weirdly, this whole work at home thing has made every lawyer who is dependent on support staff not want to be dependent on support staff, it seems. So we're getting a lot of questions about, like, how do I actually get these things the final mile? Like, how do I finish the work without assistance? You know, that kind of feeds into the template building and such, showing people if they stop recycling old documents into new ones, those starting point documents typically being actually broken, that they can actually get the work done without even spending a lot of money to get there. I mean, we provide assistance, on a bunch of stuff we don't sell, like, hosted servers and such. So helping people make the right choice and get the right infrastructure in place so they can work seamlessly from wherever. But I've been doing a lot of just helping lawyers become more self-reliant with respect to work product. There's a generation of lawyers my age and older who primarily rely on paper files still. And I think this is pushing them away from that. I'm hopeful that's a silver lining of all this. Most clients we're working with have an electronic file, they just don't rely on it. Or there's a pocket of resistance within every firm that doesn't. It's hard to have cohesion when half the firm's doing one thing and half the firm's doing another thing. So I think it will ultimately help people become more efficient. They're having to learn the technology. You can't practice in a vacuum. Add to that the 38 states that had kind of redefined competency in Rule 1.1. They adopted those ABA rule changes, which arguably makes technical competency a subset of professional competency. I think it's going to really push the older generation and maybe the younger generation who thinks they know everything, but actually don't. They're unaware of their blind spots a lot of times. I expect a lot more interest in knowing that and less of the, I hire people to do that, I don't need to worry about it. Well, actually you do, because if they screw it up, it's going to be your fault anyway. Read Rule 5.1 and 5.3. Like the issue with document review, there's lots of folks just have difficulty reviewing documents on a monitor compared to seeing it on paper. One of the things we always talk about with that is, well, get a monitor that rotates to portrait. That might be a game changer for you. It sounds stupid, but you can get a Visa compliant monitor stand on Amazon.com for $39 that'll fit on virtually any monitor. And as soon as you rotate your landscape monitor to portrait and you can see the whole page of text at once, twice as big as if you printed it and stuck it on your desk, that might make a difference. It made me think of another thing that a lot of folks have been doing. If you have Office 365 or now Microsoft 365, the Word version has the draw ribbon. And the draw ribbon allows you to not only mark up a document with a stylus or your finger if you've got a touch screen, but they have this editor mode. Let's say I'm on an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil. If I strike out a paragraph, it actually deletes the paragraph as if you backspaced on the whole thing. There's all these gestures that you can do that will edit the document with the pen. Some lawyers that like to mark up with a pen, well, the iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil is a pretty realistic writing experience in the iPad, the Android, the Mac, and the Windows version of Word. So, they can actually mark up the document and send it to a support staff person who can see all their ink and make the appropriate adjustment. If we have clients that have desktops, we yell at them about that. I'm like, why are you wasting your time with that? Laptops outsell desktops for a million reasons. I teach a lot of these COVID-19 working remotely CLE seminars, and one of the big security issues is now you got all these people working from home accessing your client data from what? You don't have any freaking idea. Like, it could be some Windows 7 computer that the whole family has access to. You don't have any control over that. So, we're like, you need to buy laptops for everybody. Even the administrative people need laptops. You get docking stations, you connect monitors to them. It'll feel like a desktop. It'll look like a desktop, but they can take it home. And you can exercise control over that device. And I can have antivirus and make sure that all the updates have been installed and make sure they have an operating system that's still being supported. And while they are more expensive, if having a laptop allows an employee to work once a year in a situation they otherwise wouldn't have been able to work, You paid for it. That's a no-brainer. It pays for itself over and over again.
I've
I get all this
always
pushback.
I've always loved how passionate you get about. You're like freaking
Well, I
out
mean,
right
it's ridiculous.
now.
They're like, if it costs $300 more, I'm like, for Christ's sake, you'll make that up in a week. We don't sell hardware, but I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
But I buy Scepter 27-inch gamer monitors, even though I don't play games on them, before all this stuff happened where, like, I think monitors have jacked up in price. You can't get a reasonable webcam anymore because they're all sold out. But they're $159 is all I paid for them when I bought them. I think they're more expensive now, but they have HDMI DisplayPort and VGA, and they got speakers built in, and they're VESA compliant, and they're really thin, and they're curved. And they have 32s and 27s and 25s, I think, in terms of size. I'm a huge fan of big, fat ergonomic keyboards. In fact, I just bought a new one. It's this guy. I've always used a Microsoft Ergo 4000, which is this giant beast of a keyboard. But once I got afflicted with the Ergo, I don't like using straight keyboards at all. I feel like I can type a lot faster on an Ergo keyboard. So I have a full-size mouse keyboard. I connect to a Thunderbolt dock, and everything else is plugged into that. And I just have a dock at home and a dock at the office. So one plug and I'm done. I mean, a lot of times any of the good online matter management / accounting programs can be customized to like keep track of everybody that touches your business. But there might be some, customization that has to really occur before that works well. We have like 7 case management programs we work with, and each one of them has particular advantages and disadvantages. And that department has this whole questionnaire they have to ask each prospective client to figure out which ones they should be considering, which check most of the boxes. None of them check all the boxes. Good. Logitech also, in my opinion, makes the best mice. Master Mouse, hang on, I'll tell you what it's called. But what's cool about it is it's got lithium ion rechargeable batteries, first of all. So I charge it with a cell phone charger like once every 3 months. But I don't like touchpads. So I usually disable mine because I have big hands and I'm always dragging the touchpad and moving my cursor around. So I have this giant, I have 3 of them actually, of these Logitech mice, and they don't use the optical, that little light thing that tends to track badly on glass tables and shiny surfaces. It's some kind of a video camera, and it tracks perfectly on any surface with no mouse pad. So glass tables, no problem. Shiny things, no problem. Arm of a chair, side of your head, it doesn't matter. Those Logitech mice are the absolute best.
What about that headset?
That's a Plantronics Savi, S-A-V-I, and it's both Bluetooth, voice over IP, and regular phone. You can use it as buttons for all 3. The cool thing about Plantronics, however you like a device to attach to your head, they make one of those. They got over the head, behind the head, around the ear, and clips, whatever it is that you're comfortable with, they make a model that does that. But it has good battery life, it's clear, it's comfortable. Today, we're seeing one support staff to 5 lawyers. But the problem is, for those who grew up having a support staff immediately available and now don't, they're freaking out about that because they have to get in line and they can't just jump the line. That causes people stress because how do I get the work out and not stress out about it? If I'm doing trust administration and probate and estate planning, I'm probably really profitable with 2 lawyers and 14 support staff. And other areas of practice are profitable with 14 lawyers and 2 support staff. In my experience, that's one of those things that really depends on and how much you've systematized your practice so that you can push that down to people with a lower salary expectation, to be blunt about it.
Group, but I think that's so funny that we're talking about technology and like a mouse and immediately go to the allocation of resources and, who benefits. So,
Thank you.